a lot of people say that this is the greatest live album ever.
Politics.
We're starting the show. You're angry right off the bat. Bad start. Bad return to the year. Bad return to the show. First thing of the year. First show of the year.
Welcome back, everybody. It's been as the kids these days would say, a minute.
Wow, you say that you're a kid. Actually,
no, I don't say a minute, but you go ahead.
Well, why is that? I've always wondered about that. It's been a minute. What does that mean? Is it like it's a sarcastic kind of way?
Yeah, I think
millennials mocking older people.
I think it's the ridiculousness in the idea of like, it's been a minute. It's like a minute's not that long. But really what we mean is that it's been a while.
Yes.
And not by we meaning me, I mean the royal we, like that's what they mean. I don't say it. One time I heard a guy back when I was younger say, "Oh, dude, I haven't seen you in a journey." And that one has stuck with me. I love that one. Me and my buddy Mick, we heard that and we say that now. It's been a journey. We like that. But the minute's weird. So
the dog's age used to be the one that was when dinosaurs walked the earth when I was a kid. That's what people would say. Oh, geez, it's been a dog's age.
Seen you at a dog's age. Yeah.
Now it's been a hot minute. I've heard that too.
Hot minute. Yeah.
Anyway.
Which means it's a burning, quick, long time. I don't know. Yeah, I'm with you. Anyways, welcome back.
Anyway.
It's here we are in February. I almost started off with Happy New Year, I almost went there because it's the first one back, but I didn't.
But it's February. So we actually skipped January
altogether.
So I didn't really know that we were going to do that. But time kind of went for us a little bit.
Which is hilarious because we communicate on the regular. See, I'll say that one. I'll say that one, Brent. We kids, we will say on the regular. We communicate frequently. And we were just like, I guess we should probably get to do. Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, we took some time off just from life, which was great. And then I went away. I went for vacation after Christmas vacation for a week. And then I was in Ottawa for work for a week. So that's 2 weeks of January just taken out. So it was kind of like,
tough.
You know what?
Hey,
Feb.
You deserve it.
Well, I mean, thanks.
You're a hardworking man.
Well, I appreciate that. I think we all
but
are.
You know what? Now we're going to talk about Thin Lizzy.
I mentioned politics because we're back and we're alive and dangerous.
Oh,
we're not going to talk about politics. Don't worry. We're not going to go there.
No, we're not.
We're not going there. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I did want to, we were talking before the show and I told you that story, but I saw a picture and I thought this was perfect. That it wasn't the subject of the picture, but the woman that had posted it was a selfie of her and a bar owner. She was in this bar in the States. And on the sign behind him that just happened to get caught in the picture was no religion, no politics. And I thought, perfect. I could put that sign up in my house. When I have people over, those are two things I've never explicitly said. These are the rules, but I really do not want to talk about politics nor religion.
Avoid at all costs. What you didn't see that they were blocking was only trash talk was, I think, just below them. So,
Maybe.
Yeah, who knows what that could consist of. Yeah, probably the most peaceful place on earth, too. That's for sure.
So,
maybe.
This was a big album for you to get hit with, coming back in.
Yeah, hour 16, 17 tracks.
Yeah, it's more than an hour, right? Yeah, it's like a double. It's like a double live album, 4 sides.
Yeah.
2 records.
It's like when you come back to school and the teacher's like, here's your big assignment. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas break.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
like, jeez,
bang.
Yeah.
How did you feel about being banged? Alex.
It was off. Yeah. Jesus. It's gonna take a while to come down from this one. How did I feel about being banged?
Gotta be honest.
Yeah. Felt really good.
All right.
Yeah. Well, this is, oh gosh, I'm not gonna keep thinking about that. Well done. You're gonna meatloaf this one, man. You're gonna fog up and cry again.
Oh,
Me too.
I am fogging up.
Gonna meatloaf this one.
Remember how funny that was?
It wasn't really a nice comment I made, but
no, it was terrible. But it was really funny. That's what was funny. I think was that I was trying not to laugh.
So bad. Yeah. Sorry. How did I feel about being banged by Thin Lizzy? Yeah, this was I only knew this is great.
Ah, good.
Sorry, is where I should go with that. I don't want to beat around the bush at all here. Now it's like I can't stop. I knew Jailbreak. I knew Boys Are Back in Town.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the set list here, and I think
probably a cowboy song too.
No, I don't think so.
No.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, Jailbreak and the Boys Are Back in Town, and that's what I knew of them. And like Boys Are Back in Town, I loved that song when I heard it. I was like, man, this is a great tune. Yeah. Jailbreak also really good. I had no idea about anything else that they created, and I'm pretty upset about it now. but happy for the show to bring me up to speed.
It was, what show are we on? 113. Okay.
Give or take.
So Thin Lizzy had to come up. It probably should have come up sooner. But they're a funny band because, people think they're a heavy metal band, but they're not. They're, a hard rock band. And they themselves will tell you that they are not a heavy metal band. And, we were texting back and forth, and I told you that Scott Gorham, the guitar player, actually hates when people call Thin Lizzy a metal band. And he mocks, he's, breaking the law, Judas Priest. Like he goes into the whole routine. He's like, we don't do that stuff. They're a rock band is how he sees it. But this is just it's a fantastic record. It's a funny one though, because, their studio stuff like Black Rose is good. I like Chinatown. I really like Chinatown, but they don't have a studio record that is, I'll go back to it again, like a banger, like a really, because they say, and I read this in an interview a long time ago. They said that they suffer from something called red light fever. So that when they're in the studio, they're intimidated by the fact that the red light's on and they kind of freeze up a little bit, and it inhibits them from giving, a really honest performance in their opinions. And so when they're live, they just pull it at all the stops, and it's a different vibe and everything. And people have commented too in talking about this record that it's so much more punchy and organic and stronger than the studio material. And I totally agree.
Yeah, I did go back and take a listen to a few of the songs that I really liked on this to hear what they sounded like on the album. And there's definitely, I'm not actually really chalking it up to the performance. I'm actually more so just talking up to the production of them. They just feel a little like there's not a whole lot hitting you. Whereas this feels like it's a live show, so it's meant to feel live, but there's just this production of it feels really different and really great with these songs.
My favorite thing about this band is the guitars.
Ooh,
so
I had no idea.
Oh, right. Right. And they both play Les Pauls. Brian Robertson is, I believe, he's Irish, and Scott Gorham is from California. Scott Gorham actually came over before Thin Lizzy really kind of got going to join Supertramp. He was just a kid.
Yeah.
I think he was like 19 or 20, and that didn't pan out. And so he auditioned for Thin Lizzy, and he had this really crappy Japanese knockoff of a Les Paul. And people were kind of like looking at him and going like, who's this guy, right? But he looked cool. He had like the kind of the rock star vibe. And he got the audition, and he was successful. And Phil Lynott, the leader of the band, said, you know, we're going to buy you a guitar because you can't play that one. But if you're still in the band in 6 months, you can keep it.
Yeah, that's great. A bit of a ragtag bunch of guys, I guess, that came together. Like you said, to your point about Gorham coming over for California, and great little story about them. Even just Phil Lynott, like just how he, played in a couple bands before this, and was really into rock and roll and like the image and stuff like that. People always talked about how well he dressed and how well he looked, and I think it was between him and Robertson maybe where I guess he like Lynott was the only one allowed to have facial hair.
Yeah.
And Robertson came in with a bit of like a beard starting, and he's like, shave it off.
Yeah.
I have the mustache, and it's only me. And he just had this image and this vision for what he wanted to do and the band to be, and that's what you need, obviously, as a leader.
I'd heard somewhere that he said because he wanted a 3-piece because he played bass and sang at the same time.
Yeah.
So he kind of it was almost like a little Rush setup for him. And the topic of having 2 guitarists in the band came up. And he said, well, the reason why I have that is because if one of them screws off, then I still have the other one.
Still got the other one. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Because he was that lead singer only for a while. And his first band was called the Black Eagles, I think. And he was solely just a singer in that band. And then him and was it Eric Bell? That was the first person basically with him there.
Yep.
Started that band and formed into this. Thin Lizzy, because even Gorham mentioned how he felt like the name of the band was silly, right?
Because they used to.
What is a Thin Lizzy?
Fast Buck or something like that.
And okay.
Thin or maybe, I don't know if he was in that band or what it was, but the band was called Fast Buck. And Thin Lizzy, and he said, "What's a Thin Lizzy?"
Yeah.
So I actually think Thin Lizzy is a cool name. I like it, but he hated it, which is really funny. Yeah. So he was a bit of a tough customer, though, Gorham. Him and Robertson didn't really get along at first because Robertson was a lot better. Gorham had I think he'd only been playing for 3 years when he auditioned, which is so bizarre.
Not long.
And so, but when you hear these guys play, man, like they play like the wind, and especially on this record, and that's why I picked this record, because the guitars are just blistering. And if you're a guitar guy, like a rock guitar guy, this is your record.
Stood out, man. It really stood out to me. I was listening to that. I'm like, this is what Thin Lizzy has always been about. Mm-hmm. Like, is this what I've been missing? Thinking that they were only the boys are back in town. Like, again, good tune, loved it. But man, when I started going like Emerald, Warriors, Suicide, Massacre, like all these songs, you're like, what?
Are you ready?
Give me a break. Yeah,
I know so many good riffs too. Yeah,
great.
It's funny because like I on side 1, I think obviously Jailbreak kicks off, but side 2, like I've always liked the second record more than the first one.
Oh, really?
I kind of felt like like track number 3, Southbound. I thought like it's kind of a soft song to put out front, But when you get down into side 2, that's when you hear. Like Sha-La-La and Suicide and Are You Ready and Warrior and stuff like that. And those are like the real shit kickers, like that's where the real guitar comes in.
I love it because for me, it's like that first side is just bang, like 1 through 6, boom, and then Still in Love with You is nice, and then Johnny the Fox was Jim of the Weeds, cool, but then Cowboy Song, Into the Boys Are Back in Town, and like
That's
that.
cool.
You know, as we talk about it, and as funny how like when we talk about it, my opinions start to change, because as I started doing that and I'm thinking about Warriors and Suicide, I was like, the back half was actually kind of like my least favorite, but now as we go through it and we talk about it, I'm like, oh man, you know what? No, that's all actually really good. It's all, it's like, where does it? It's on. Honestly, it kind of gets bad at The Boys Are Back in Town. That's where it's not great.
I know. So that's funny because that kicks off side 3. So that's the first song on the second record.
Oh, okay.
And it's that big segue. You hear the crowd go nuts, right? Because they do Cowboy Song, and then it goes into Boys, and you hear the crowd just go crazy. They did that, I think, constantly. Like on every tour, they would do that. Yeah. Just because the notes are the same, it's an easy segue. So yeah, but Don't Believe a Word is awesome. So yeah. When that third side comes, like that's when I really kind of get into it.
Okay, so just before, I mean, and I don't know if we necessarily need to run through the tunes. There's a lot of tunes. We don't have to run through all of them.
We'll just pick your favorite ones.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of songs, so just go through your favorite ones, and we'll go back and forth with them.
Yeah, but one thing I want to talk was like the production of this thing. So apparently there's some contention about recording it live, but doing a lot of overdubs, because we, as we understand, thanks to Kiss, there's a lot of production that can be done to live albums to make it sound like live, but it's not like it's like people are saying basically. I think Tony Visconti mainly was like, this is 75% studio recorded, and what is that, 25% live, whereas Lynott and Gorham, on the other hand, are like, no, it's 75% live and 25%. So what's the deal, Brent?
The deal is
set the record straight.
And Tony Visconti was the only guy who said that.
But he's the producer.
Yeah, which is weird, right? But the thing is, too, is that he was very busy. So they wanted him to produce their next studio record, and he couldn't because he had other commitments. And so he suggested that, it was either him or Phil, suggested that they just put it a live record. And so they went back and listened to like 30 hours of stuff that they had just accumulated, right, from all over the place, from the Bad Reputation tour. And they said, okay, so Hammersmith is a good show, so we can use most of the stuff there. And then, the Toronto, it was like Seneca College, believe it or not. I played Seneca College in 76, and they used some of that. And so, the idea was that it wasn't like a start to finish show, right? Live albums typically are not. They'll take the best performances from different, kind of stops on the tour. But it was mostly Hammersmith and Toronto, apparently. And then later, Visconti started providing all these details. And he said, well, also there's like Philadelphia. There's some songs that were done in Philadelphia, and people were like, what? And then he said, oh, and by the way, 75% of it was done in the studio. It's all overdubs. We did it in Paris. And again, people are like, what are you talking about? And that really pissed off Robertson and Gorham.
Yeah.
And Robertson said, I think that like acoustically, we could not have done that because my guitar would have bled into the, we would have had to record the whole thing over again, which I assure you we did not. And he said, Gorham jumped in and said, he's Still in Love with You. There's a huge mistake in there. This is a funny story. So I guess he went up to the side of the stage, and he used to wear these big red flare pants, big bell bottoms. And he was playing his solo, Still in Love with You. And he had to get back to the pedal board when his solo was done. But somebody grabbed a girl. They were massaging his legs, and where the girl wouldn't let go of his pants. So he missed his cue, and he made a mistake. And he said, to this day, it pisses me off when I listen to that record because I can hear the mistake. So don't tell me that it's an overdub, because if it was, that would have been the first thing I would have fixed.
Well, because they weren't on drugs or drinking, right? So they would remember everything.
Well, Lynott really went down. So did...
Yeah.
I think Downey, the drummer, was the only guy who didn't really get into it. I think... There's a funny line that Robertson said. He said, this was this record was us at our best, at our peak, before the really bad drugs came in. And I thought, what is a really bad drug?
Yeah.
It's like heroin, I don't know, PCP.
Yeah.
But really bad drugs. So
yeah.
Then it was, it was over for them after that. But anyway.
Okay. Well, interesting. That's very, very interesting. Yeah. Because I mean, to me, that's what I was thinking. It sounds really good. That's why I was kind of like, man, like, is there quite a bit of, post-production done on this album? Because there's a lot that sounds really good. The crowd noise is kind of there, like sometimes, but I wouldn't even say like most of the time. It comes in so now I'm just trying to feel, maybe I'm just feeling like maybe I'm not even familiar enough with live albums. So I'm also, I'd be willing to say that as well. I don't listen to a whole lot of live albums, but it, sometimes feels like it's not fully live. So that's where I was curious as to,
crowd noise is a tough one because people use that kind of as an augmentation device often, right?
Yeah.
And you've heard, like, say, Stage Fright, Def Leppard off Pyromania. That's clearly not live, but at the beginning, Joe Elliott says, "I said, welcome to my show," and you hear, "Wow, crowd!"
Right. Yeah.
But that's maybe from a Peter Frampton show. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they just put that in. So it's really, really hard to tell.
For sure. Yeah. Train kept rolling, right? Bringing the live audience. Train kept rolling. Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Fair points.
Yeah. Go through your faves. Let's talk about it.
Well, okay, I do love the beginning. It's great. Kicks off with the with Jailbreak and the crowd. Clap clap clap. Lizzy, clap clap clap. Lizzy.
That's cool. I love that.
And you just know that's Hammersmith because nobody outside of Europe, especially the UK, does that.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
Yeah. So that's great.
That's kind of the days of the lore of like Motorhead, No Sleep Till Hammersmith. Like, they're so excited to play there for the first time. And when Iron Maiden played there during Number of the Beast, when they got Dickinson, it was just like, there was such an excitement on everyone's part. Bands were excited to play for the crowds and the crowds were excited for the bands to play for them. And it was just this like combustible thing, and that's a great example. Lizzy, like, and it's just like this, like it's so exciting. Right. And then bang, it goes into Jailbreak, which is a perfect song to start with.
Yeah. And not knowing much about them, I was kind of like, I was kind of curious too about some of the song selection on this, why they went with some of these songs, because there's
Southbound.
Okay, no, because I love Southbound. Okay,
do you?
I do. It's very, I get Steve Miller vibes from it actually, and I really love that they can do Jailbreak and then a banger like Emerald. Emerald is phenomenal. Like, and that's there's great guitar in Jailbreak, but when Emerald came on, it's a completely different feel. Like, this is where I'd be like, maybe they could be considered a metal band because of how a song like this came across.
What's really interesting is that when I think about this record and you hear those, like, I don't know who plays it, if it's Robertson or Gorham, but like there's a solo that's just like so histrionic, like the notes are super high and whoever's playing is just going for it. And I think like that's the first indication that like, you're really in for it if you love guitar, right?
Yeah.
Because like this is like, hey.
Yeah, it's the guitarmonies, Brent. That's what they are. Like,
that's cool too.
Great.
Yeah, there's a bunch of songs that do that.
Like that whole outro of the song it's like, man, like this would have inspired to me metal bands that I would end up listening to later on. This type of guitar playing. So
yeah, that Celtic vibe,
Yeah,
and that's a thing that's Lizzy's calling card, in my opinion. Those guitar harmonies. Like, think about The Boys Are Back in Town, and cowboy song. Like as soon as you hear those lines, you know that it's a Thin Lizzy song. Like no one else sounds like that, not even close. Even Whiskey in a Jar or the Whiskey in the Jar. Like you know as soon as you hear that, you're like, that's Thin Lizzy.
Rosalie, Bob Seger tune. They kill it. It's great.
Yep.
Sounds awesome. Guitar tones, right on.
Yes.
Great song to play live. Great audience pleaser.
The tones and the lead, just the note choices are just so. It's just perfect rock for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Dancing in the Moonlight. Great groove.
You know what's really cool about this, Alex? Dancing in the Moonlight.
Yeah.
Sax. Right?
Yeah.
So people say, oh, Thin Lizzy's a metal band.
Right.
Not anymore.
Be metal with a saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. I just put this album on repeat, man. Like you can just keep listening.
I'm so glad. I wasn't sure if you're gonna like it.
Because even the way that transition, like the transitions are great too, and whether it's, you know, in the same show or whatever, or if they've edited it together, they just the transitions from one song to the next are great. And because Massacre comes in and after this, and like that drum transition's awesome. I am listening to it a little bit because there's a lot on here, so I'm just trying to remember.
Drums are so tight, man.
Super tight, man. Yeah. And then the vocal sort of echo that happens in the song is like, it's perfect, but it's like super eerie at the same time. Just, it's so well done.
How do you like Johnny the Fox?
It's cool. It's fine. Still in love with you though. What about that? You skipped that. Are you not a fan?
Oh no, I am.
Oh, okay.
I like that song a lot, actually. Okay. It reminds me of a song that Whitesnake did on one of their live records called Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City. It's that same.
Yeah.
And it just, again, like we've talked about this before where, you know, it's the easy, like they don't make records like that anymore. But like that vibe just doesn't seem to exist anymore. That old, remember, I can't remember which show this was. It was recently, but you said listening to this kind of makes me nostalgic and it brings me back. And I was like, it blew my mind that you said that. Yeah. And I wonder if that's some kind of like an agent somehow. I don't know. But
it was a Force It UFO tune.
That's what it was. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
But see, again, it's similar in my mind, like Still in Love with You. Just it's just the delivery, you know, there's something about that delivery that you might not ever hear again.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's just a great breakup, you know, miss your partner, lover, whoever kind of a song. But, Johnny the Fox is okay though. But what, do you like it? You a big fan?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I like the groove. Good funky groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun when he picks it in Johnny the Fox.
Yeah.
Jimmy the Wheat. Yeah.
It's like a kind of a quasi James Brown thing, you know?
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, hey man, that's a great point to bring up too. And he talks about it being a black man in a white man's world in rock and roll, during, well, their whole existence really, but especially during the 70s. So,
yeah. To be from
great
Ireland.
To see those kind of influences. Sorry?
To be an Irishman.
An Irishman, you know, well, English. But yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think that they were Irish, right?
Well, his mother was, but I think he was born in England.
Oh, was he?
I didn't know that. Was, yeah. And then came over, and he spent actually most of the time with, I think, his grandmother. His mother asked his grandmother her mother to watch him for a while. So, yeah. But anyways, sorry. Yeah, it's a good groove though. Johnny the Fox. It's Jimmy the Weed.
Yeah. And that's the first record. So then it's Cowboy 8. Song, I think, and then to Boys Back in Town, and then that's when it gets good for B. Jensen.
I'm just a cowboy. I love that song though too. Now I did not know it. Maybe I did. I don't know. I can't really recognize it, but yeah. And great transition. The boys are back in town. It must have been a blast hearing that live and experiencing that live.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then which one was it? Don't Believe a Word.
That's a great riff harmony. So you hear the riff, which is really cool, and then the other guitar player comes in and plays a harmony on top of that. It's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I messaged you about. I wasn't sure if there was some correlation between Don't Believe a Word and Rock Forever.
I think there's going to be a little overlap. I hear what you're saying. I actually, I knew both songs, but I played them. You sent both of them via text, and I did, and there's definitely similarities. I don't think there's any nefarious things going on. But
No.
Yeah. A lot of similarity and some overlap there for sure.
Just that opening, like it's literally, I think, just those 3 or 4 notes.
Well, how did you pick that up? Was that Priest song in your mind?
I'd been listening to it, then I heard it, and I was like, I feel like I know this riff, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, that's a Priest song, and then I started like, I get my high, and then rock forever. So Judas Priest is a little more intricate than this one, but I feel like the first few notes on Don't Believe a Word, well, sorry, I should say those notes on Rock Forever just seem similar. That's all. Again, it just could have been but then I went and I love looking at on iTunes, on Apple Music here, it's like influences or influenced by playlists.
Yeah.
So under an artist, you click on that and you can see like, who was influenced by Thin Lizzy. So I went there to check and see if Priest was on there, and they aren't. So Guns N' Roses are, Megadeth, Dropkick Murphys, The Darkness, Iron Maiden, Bon Jovi, Foo Fighters, The Replacements. This is a big one for me for the next song with oh no, wait, not the next song. Where was it? Which one was it?
So Massacre and Run to the Hills are similar in my mind.
Okay.
It's just thematically, you hear Massacre and you think, I automatically think Run to the Hills, like right away.
Yeah.
By Maiden.
Interesting. Okay. I got to listen to that again and see if that's, I can't believe I missed this completely because obviously Massacre was way back, but U2, I could hear Bono in Massacre. Yeah. It felt very kind of like
Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
Yeah, or Bullet the Blue Sky actually was more of like kind of the reference that I was thinking when I would listen closely to Massacre. Just the way, just his delivery felt very Bono-ish. So anyways, yeah, sorry we went back a little bit there, but I knew there was that kind of reminded me of them there. Yeah. And then Warriors next felt like
blistering guitars,
and a little bit of Hendrix I felt in this one. Just again in terms of delivery and the way that he sings over the melody and with the instruments. So yeah, some great friggin' just tracks, man, on this.
Best
album.
thing about this record.
Yeah.
And then Are You Ready? So that's a good example of like the heavy metal comparison, okay? Because when you hear that riff, you're like, okay, this could be a metal riff and could be confused for a metal riff. But then the first line is, do you know what it is? He sings.
What does he sing?
Are you ready to dance?
Right? Oh, yeah.
So it's like, this is not a heavy metal thing.
It's not a heavy metal.
I'm going to cut off your head.
Yeah.
So it's like Def Leppard. You hear songs like Wasted or like, that chugging. It's the chugging, right? Like Rat, like, and you think like, oh, this is a metal song. And then it's like, do, 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 do. There's this like,
Yeah.
kind of melody line that is
Yeah.
very poppy, and it's not metal at all.
Yeah. I listened closely, I guess not closely enough, I should say, to some of these later on. Are You Ready was okay. Suicide I did get into, and
love that riff.
I did, yeah. It started to grow on me, and same with Sha La La was okay, but the best part for me with Sha La La is just the drum solo later on.
Yeah, that's funny. That's old school, right?
Yeah.
You don't hear that anymore at all.
No.
Those old drum solos. And it's actually pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. I think it sounds awesome. Yeah. I mean, he kind of goes all over the place, then he brings it back to the ability, like, for people in the audience to clap too. Yeah, it was great. It was really good. Yeah.
Yep.
And then Baby Drives Me Crazy was cool. It got, what is that, Huey Lewis on the harmonica, I heard. Is that who that was?
Who is that? I don't know, but it's a harp solo.
Yeah,
that's like what I think. Does he say Huey Lewis?
Ladies, you make a lot of noise on harmonica. Huey Lewis.
Yeah, that's why I don't know for sure if it's like a joke or not, but he says Huey Lewis on the harmonica. Yeah,
he does say that.
Yeah, so that must have been a Philadelphia show, right?
Yeah, but this is 1978. I mean, Huey Lewis was around at that time. But Huey Lewis and the News really kind of gained popularity in '85 with like Sports. So
yeah, Sports.
You know what?
Great album.
Actually, you know what? Maybe Huey Lewis was playing with bands like Thin Lizzy or Thin Lizzy.
He went over there and they basically took him under his wing for a little bit. I don't know at what time, but Huey Lewis talks about having spent time with Lynott and Gorham and
no way.
Robertson. Yeah. He's like basically Lynott gave me clothes out of his closet because he, to dress him up. So yeah, it could have been like
that connection before. I wasn't sure if you said. I never really paid attention to that. So that was
that's why I was like, was it really Huey Lewis? Could that really been him? But yeah,
that's fantastic.
It's my understanding. That was him.
How about that?
Yeah.
Jesus. 80s hit machine.
Yeah. And then the Rocker, which again was okay. Nothing.
Rocker. Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of like that too. It's it's a bit goofy, but it's funny.
Yeah. And this is kind of where I kind of got to the point where I was like, man, like, where are all these songs? Like they took a good handful. Like obviously the most of the songs on this, and by most I mean 5 of the 8 or 5 of the 9 from Jailbreak are on this album. So then the rest are really pulled from quite a few different albums.
Yes.
So yeah, that's why I didn't really quite know how to take Thin Lizzy and these songs and the popularity around the band or lack thereof on the North American continent.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, weird. I mean, they played Seneca College in Toronto, which is very, very odd. And that was 76. So a lot of these things were recorded in 76. The Philly shows were too, I think. But it came out in 78. So, yeah. I guess, well, like what I was saying earlier, they wanted to put out a studio record, but they just went through all their live stuff that they had accumulated and picked through it and put this out. And you know what? A lot of people say that this is the greatest live album ever. Like bigger than Frampton, bigger than, anything. Like, what do you think?
Bigger than Cheap Trick?
Bigger than Budokan. Well, think about that. There's some big live records, right? I don't know if I would say this is the biggest one. I don't know what I would say was the biggest one, though.
I don't know enough live albums, but so like for me, probably at this point in my early music career, I think it's pretty incredible. Like these are all really, really get choked up. Really good songs. These are like, it just sounds so good. So I don't know why I would say to the contrary. Like other albums have really good like live versions. Okay. Tom Petty has like an incredible live album and just incredible live recordings. So maybe that's the difference. Maybe the difference is that like what did they just release? Live at the Fillmore in 91. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I mean, it's tough to compete with, I think they took it from 2 or 3 nights as well.
Yeah.
They have a lot of songs on there, but
yeah.
Anyways, I know at the time and people that are from that day are really big into this album. Anyways, I could meander through that conversation a lot longer if you'd like, but I won't. I'll spare you. So
what's your rating?
I mean, like I.
This is the longest you've taken to rate a record.
Because I'm trying to think of like, what didn't I like, and was it enough to be like it's not a 5? So I'm on the upper echelons. Maybe this is the first time we'll start the year off right. 4.9. I'll give it a 4.9 out of 5.
All right.
Because there's a very slight amount that I don't like, and I don't think it warrants it to be a whole half mark down. So I'm going to go with a 4.9.
I agree. All right.
Good. Great. Right
All
on.
right.
Man. Wow. Off with a banger. The bang.
Oh, geez. What now?
Where do we go now? Where do we go?
Oh, I told you this one before. I think.
Yes, you did, and I didn't. I ignored it. I just went straight for Thin Lizzy. So.
Oh, I do not blame you one bit.
I went for the jugular.
The album was. This is kind of left field. I'm going to explain it before I talk about it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I really like this album, and I'm a firm believer, as you know, and as our listeners know, that deep cuts are often just as good, if not better, than the hits, the singles from a record, right? And you really got to dig and find those songs like "Live With Me" by the Rolling Stones and "Black Country Woman" by Zeppelin, and on and on and on. This album had a massive single at the time. It came out in the 90s, and I loved it. And I thought, there's got to be at least 1 or 2 more songs as good as this, initial single on the record. So I'm going to buy it and I'm going to take a chance on it. And I was extremely pleased with my decision. The band is called Space Hog, and the record is called Resident Alien.
Okay. Sweet.
This is a great record, man.
Resident
Doesn't get talked about
Alien.
a lot. They were kind of a flash in the pan. He was a big Bowie guy. But I can't wait to talk about this record.
I can't wait to listen. I have no idea what I'm in for.
I know.
Space Hog, Resident Alien.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
This could be very interesting.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks, enjoy going and finding this one and giving her a spin, giving her a whirl, and welcome back. We're hitting the ground running in February 2025.
Yeah. Sorry we were away for so long. I used to have where are you going? I used to have a university. Oh, what's that? What is that?
I don't want to derail your thought. What do you think? Well, what university?
You just reminded me of something that happened to me when I was in university. my buddy and I went to drop off our reports. He had to write a report for this class that we had that was called Greek Civilization. And before Christmas, he had to hand it in before Christmas break. So me and my buddy Colin go to the prof's office, right? And he's in there, and this prof, I won't say his name, but he was a bit of an enthusiast when it came to the drink. And so like he visibly, like his hair was kind of all over the place, and he'd walk around in the winter with his boots all untied, and he had a big parka, and you could tell that he was like intoxicated quite a bit. Wow. But he was like, he held tenure in the UK. Like he was a super smart guy. So anyway, we dropped off our papers and we said, Merry Christmas. Then he looks up at us and he said, come back when you can't stay as long.
That's a good one. I like that.
And I said, all right.
Yeah.
I never forgot that.
Yeah.
And I use that now.
Yeah.
That was in like 1991.
I thought it was a jerk move at the time, and now I love it.
We were kind of confused. We left. We were like, what did he say?
We just dropped it off. We were there for 20 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, come back when you can't stay as long.
I love it. Yeah.
So what's your little item there?
Oh, yeah. I was just a little trophy I won at my little work getaway for the week.
Oh, fun.
It's a little trophy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Did Ronnie James Dio give you that?
Yes. From the grave.
From the grave.
But it's funny you do say that because me and my coworker do love singing Tenacious D, and Dio was in the movie Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay. R.I.P. One of the greats.
We're just making this episode longer for the fun of it.
Yeah, let's shut her down.
Okay. All right. Hey, come back when you can't stay as long. All right.